Hello and welcome to this new ER2 Modding SDK tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to create a simple gear for your plane. So basically your gear will close automatically when leaving the ground and open automatically before landing. So as you can see, I'm going to use a plane that is not really meant to have a movable gear, but I edited this model to have this part that can move, and I'm going to assign all the scripts and the animation system to allow having opening and closing gear. So the first thing we need to do basically is just to create the animation of the gear that closes. So to do so, go on the root of your plane, add an animation, add a new animation clip. You can actually do it a little bit better from the animation window. So you can go here and click create and create your new animation. Make sure to call it close underscore gear animation. Alright, in this way Unity and actually ER2 will know that this is the actual animation of closing your gear. So if you already followed some Unity animation tutorials or the tutorial about the weapon, this might be something you already know, but basically what we are gonna do here is gonna create some keyframes to make our gear move with an animation that interpolates between in fact the keyframes that represent the position and the rotation of the parts we want to animate over the time. So before actually doing any animation, we want to make sure that our wheel model and our wheel collider is parented to the gear. So when the gear moves away, the wheel parented to it follows it. So to do that, we have to open our prefab, select the wheel, remember to choose the pivot of your wheel and not the wheel mesh, because the pivot is the part that is gonna rotate. So you can choose it and parent it to your gear, which is this one. We have to do the same with the collision, so don't forget that. Alright. We also have to do the same with the other wheel and the other collider wheel. So we can select both and parent them to the gear R. Alright, we are almost done. We can now proceed making the animation. So now we can make the actual keyframes for our animation. So let's put our cursor in the time we want our animation to end. For example, 1 second and 30. 1 second and a half. So let's take the gear object we want to rotate, make sure possibly to stay in pivot and local rotations. So you're gonna rotate the gear from the pivot position and not from the center, which is uncomfortable, especially if your model is modeled and it has the origins made properly for animations like this. So let's choose the timing again. Let's choose our model, make sure to enter a recording mode, and let's rotate our gear to a rotation that satisfies us. So I'm gonna make a rotation like, I don't know, like this. I can actually also move it a little bit, like I want maybe my gear to disappear inside the plane or whatever. So I can like make it like this. Not the best animation, but you know, just to make something that works for the sake of this tutorial. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna do the same with the left gear. We can move it like this. Make sure that the wheels is inside our plane. And, you know, again, not the best animation, but it just needs to work. Something like this. So when our gear opens, yeah, or when our gear opens, this is what happens, and this is what happened when our gear closes. So yeah, the animation basically will be just the closed gear, and the open gear will be the reverse of the same animation. Alright, once that's done, you can exit recording mode. You can go to your gear, make sure that this is set to default. Make sure that your animation component is not set as play automatically. if this is set to play automatically, your gear animation will play at random times, but we want the play being controlled by the game and not automatically. So this is important. You can now save your prefab. So if I override my prefab now, as you can see, if I select it here in the project folder, it now has the animation component. And I can now upload my mod. Alright, so we can now test the plane we edited. So if I go here in the plane spawner, I got my plane. So if you don't know, the gear in the planes retracts automatically depending on the distance from the terrain and the speed of your plane. So now if my plane gains velocity, the gear animation gets played and my gear gets inside my plane. But now if I slow down, you'll see, and I approach the terrain, you'll see that my gear should get out from the animation. So now my gear is ready and I can land safely again. Alright, congratulations for setting up your gear animation on your plane. See you in the next tutorial.